Well, hello, table family. It's Monday. It's Yolanda. That means it's time for another episode of Everybody at the Table. Can you believe it's April? I'm talking about what all the it's are. It's April. It's been a quick year so far. Time is flying, as my grandmama would say, time is winding up. But I am so glad to be here with you this week as we have another conversation about what belongs at the table, who belongs at the table, everybody, right? And how we get there and what that looks like. If you haven't listened to the last episodes I put out, remember they're coming out every couple of weeks now, not every week, which has been good for me because it gives me a chance to really think about what I want to share on this platform. But last episode, I think it was episode 52, we talked about the Target boycott and where I stand on that, and how by boycotting the hair industry, I've been able to put more money into Black women's hands, very little money into organizations and companies that don't support Black women, who don't have an active campaign to help elevate others, minorities at all, and just seem to be taking and not giving. So go back and listen to that. And today I want to stay in the same vein of economic empowerment, but talking about the stock market. So let me be upfront, let me be clear that I have been investing in the stock market for over 20 years. I've got a small IRA portfolio through E-Trade that I manage myself. I also invest through my 401k and other retirement programs at work. And I even invest in my company stock because there's a company match. And I believe in taking advantage of what is essentially free money. So when I talk about the market today, I'm not speaking about a theory. I'm speaking about my experience, what I believe has been able to help me save a nest egg and plan for retirement and advance my family. I'm not telling you to invest because I'm not qualified to tell you to invest. You need to go get a professional to help you with that. But I am going to share with you my concerns, about what's going on right now with Donald Trump and his crazy announcements, and why the rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer. I'm telling you to pay attention because something is happening in plain sight, and we are leaving opportunity at the table. Let's simplify this. Buying a stock is just buying a piece of a company. That's it. That's all. If you believe in a company, you buy a share. If the company grows, your share grows in that value. And if it struggles, you lose value. That's really it. That's the game. So if you buy a share at $50 and the company grows in value to $60, you earn $10. If the company loses value, you lose $10. Your stock is worth less. But that's how people have been able to grow and advance themselves economically, especially the rich. And please understand there's risk. You have to do your research, and you should, as I mentioned, talk to a professional. That's not me. At its core, it's really not complicated. But why am I talking about this? Because Donald Trump has a repeated pattern of making strong declarative statements that move the market. And there are many who allege that he is doing it intentionally to gain from it personally and for his rich friends to gain from it. And how does that work? So when he makes a declarative statement as the president of the United States, who makes statements about what this country is going to do, it either weakens the financial outlook of the market or the financial outlook of our economy, or strengthens the financial outlook of our economy. So statements like sweeping tariffs and threats of war and economic retaliation, these are not small statements, and they're not outrageous statements that he just makes off the top of his head, my belief. And I know sometimes they're so outrageous that we laugh and people make fun of them, but they are strategic, and they are meeting what I believe and others believe is this idea that financial markets are responding either good or bad to these statements, and his friends, if they play it right, are making billions of dollars. Now, here's the part that people may or may not understand. The market doesn't just move on what happens. It's not about the trading. It's about what people believe is going to happen. So when something happens externally, like the Iran war, people start looking at what businesses, what industries are going to be impacted, good or bad, by that activity. And because he has the authority to make these decisions and move the United States in that direction, his friends, who often have a heads up through Congress or through communication with his team of what's going to happen, are prepared to either sell stock or buy stock. Either way, they are manipulating their funds based on his declarations. They either sell so that they don't lose money, or they buy so that they make money. The market moves on belief. So when leaders say the things that he says, tariffs, war, economic disruption, immediately investors begin to react. Let me give you a simple example of how this works. When prices drop, that's when other investors step in and buy, because now everything is on sale. Just like shopping, if something was $100 and now it's $85, people buy. Then a week later or 2 weeks later, the statement gets softened. He says, oh no, there's not going to be any tariffs, or the war is over. He walks it back, or it doesn't happen at all. And then the market goes up. Now, the people who bought the share at $85, the value goes up to $100. They've made $15. They have $15 profit. Or if they sell at $85 before he says something crazy and it goes down to $50, they kept themselves from losing money. So those swings are important to how they are getting rich through this president, allegedly. And what we have to remember with the swings is that these are not $85, $95 deals. These are billions and billions of dollars that's moving every day. At the end of his presidency, I'm going to tell you that the rich are going to be richer and the poor are going to be poor. And then we add to that Congress is able to trade stocks. The same people who get early information, who shape policy, who vote on whether we should have tariffs or war, are able to trade in the market. There are disclosure laws, there are different rules that they have, but it doesn't matter that they have these rules. They should not be able to do it at all. If I could personally benefit from a policy decision, then why would I vote in favor of something that would keep me from making money? Congress can't really fully represent its constituency and the hearts of its constituency if they have this incentive that if I vote in this direction, my family is personally enriched. There are plenty of stories of Congress folks who go into Congress broke and come out multimillionaires because of this ability to move money in this way. So the question becomes, when statements alone can move markets and those statements are later reversed, what are we really watching? What are we really seeing? In my opinion, a heist. And to that end, I started off telling you that I personally invest in the market, and I am not advocating for you to invest in the market if you're not interested, or to gamble or do anything that's at risk. Again, you need to consult your financial advisor, get you one. I am not that person. But I do believe if money is moving, we need to understand how, and we need to understand that that table is available for us too. Because while institutional investors are watching this pattern and moving accordingly, many of us are sitting on the sidelines, watching, concerned, intimidated, and missing the moment. We say everybody at the table, or I say everybody at the table, but let's be honest. Everybody is not playing the same game. Some people move markets, some people profit from the movement, and some people don't even know the game is happening. And if words can move billions, and if those same words can be walked back, then we have to ask a harder question. Is this strategy or is this something else? Either way, money is being made, The question is, who's going to be left holding the bag? Because if you're not paying attention, if you're not informed, if you're not positioned, the reality is simple. The poor are getting poorer and the rich are getting richer. Just food for thought. So the next time you hear crazy statements being made from the person who inhabits 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, watch how many of the things they declare are walked back. And within weeks, billions have transferred. Those are my thoughts. Something to think about. Investing belongs at the table too. And I encourage you, and I will continue to do so for me, to find ways to be a part of it. Thanks for listening. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk or my Table Talk. I would love to hear your comments. Until next time, take care and dine well.